At half-time, Hawthorn 11-11-77, leading Footscray 3-5-23 in the qualifying final from the MCG. Are we needed for a minute, mate? Just want to go out and have 100 to 3, that's all.
Are we coming up again now?
How soon do we need?
What Edmund have then, mate?
How soon do we need? Righto, mate.
We're back over here now, are we? Haven't got many other good players, have they? I put Daniels in, he's tried hard.
Yeah, but he's spoken every time he's got the goal. He's spoken
But I put also Thorpe made it right. There's the Footscray. Russo, Morris,
Yeah, Terry
Wallace,
Russell Green.
Can you pass over that laser?
Kennedy hasn't done bad, has he?
5 possessions. What his son's doing all right.
Langford's played a bloody good game.
4 kicks, 5 handballs.
Yeah.
You guys going to come over here or stay there?
What do we do? Why do we do this?
I don't know, it's a pain in the arse, isn't it?
You're going to get over to
Oh, that's Pete Later.
Where's Bob here? Bob's there, you're on the end.
Right there, right?
I don't care where I sit.
You're just at the end.
There should be the other one going on this, right?
That's all right. Where are all these things? We've only got 2 of these.
No.
Well, you don't need one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I don't need one. We don't need
Who's
these.
that with all the earwax? Shit. Bloody disgusting.
Don't acknowledge Graham McNaney because we may be reporting it for a World of Sport thing as well. So
There's only 2 of those, isn't there? No? Oh, all right, anyone?
Check.
as soon as we can, guys, please.
Where's yours?
I don't know.
We've only got 2 of these.
Pete can just throw them in.
What's that?
Stand by, guys.
Well, there's only one camera.
Over there.
Well, I can't see that one. If you shoot me, you'll shoot the door.
He hasn't can anyway.
Doing a good job down there, mate.
Why don't you get in the boundary?
And welcome back to the Melbourne Cricket Ground. Hawthorn with a commanding lead at half-time, but I'm sure Alan Jeans will be stressing on his players what happened to Carlton yesterday when they led by around about 5 goals at the main change. But in ideal conditions, the qualifying final certainly being played in good spirit, but Hawthorn just seem to have a little bit more spirit than their opponents Footscray at the moment. Robert?
Yes, they certainly do, Pete. All over the ground, Hawthorn have teamed better together. They have really applied pressure. Whenever it has got up to the Hawthorn forward line, the Footscray forward line, I should say, Simon Beasley hasn't had a lot of room, and if you've got the top goal kicker in the lead, surely you've got to give the player plenty of space to lead into. And as we're talking, we're seeing the highlights of the first half, and Peter Russo putting through a very quick goal for Hawthorn there. but at the other end of the ground, Footscray letting themselves down with a very haphazard display on the forward line. And probably Les Bamblett would be the only forward player for the Footscray side. Edmund hasn't done a bad job, but in that quarter he faded after the first quarter of football. But we've witnessed a back line that has teamed excellently together. Even Swab, who has the job of picking up Bamblett, he has done his job, and you can't find a Hawthorn player, I don't think, who hasn't at some stage. That was Jason Dunstall diving in there to take an excellent mark, and he finished it off with an equally good goal. Matthews finished at half on the interchange bench, and I think it's good play by Hawthorn to give Lee Matthews a little bit of a break, to take the pressure off him, to make it whoever's playing on Matthews to get a little bit different. And I didn't pick that one up early in the game, but in the highlights now we see Daniels, and that's surprising for Daniels, nicknamed Shorty. And
He goes about his work pretty hard, Bob.
So. Was that you that was saying that, Lou?
No, I wasn't, but I just think too that where Footscray have failed most of all, the safe marks they should have taken, they've dropped some easy ones. We saw Hardy drop one there, which resulted in a goal. And I reckon in final matches, we all say, OK, it's a lot easy for us to say it up here, but you've got to grab the easy mark because you've got to make sure of it. And you'll find out 9 times out of 10, if you drop an easy mark, there'll be a goal scored from it.
It's exactly what people will say when they use the expression, it is a finals match. It's different to
That's
a home
right.
and home game.
You've got to grab the safe bet. You don't let them float away from you.
Hawthorn are a very experienced side. They're adapted and they have played in finals, and they're playing exactly that way today. The most impressive part about the Hawthorn performance is the way they're coming down the ground in 3s and 4s. There always seems to be a Hawthorn player on his own. Their disposal has been excellent, and that's contrary to Footscray's. Footscray, to the players who got the ball, we saw Hardy have to put the ball out of bounds because there was nobody at all that Hardy could have kicked to. Every Hawthorn player, every Footscray player was covered by a Hawthorn opponent. Hardy was forced to put it out of bounds and bouncing it over the line. But it's in complete contrast to Footscray when Hawthorn come down the ground, they kick to a man, but they've more importantly got somebody to kick it to.
Let's take a look at some of the second quarter highlights now.
But I just felt too that in the beginning of the game that Footscray didn't help Beasley's confidence. I think you mentioned, I mentioned a couple of times, the way they crowded him. And of course, since then, when that happens in the early part of the game, it means that the fella that's minding you, particularly in this case with Mew, a very seasoned fullback, just gets more confidence as the game goes on.
Yes, Footscray have had very few good players. As we see Kennedy get the hand pass out to Handley, and Handley kicks his second goal. But Bamblett has been a good forward. Doug Hawkins is on top of DP Domenico down on the wing. Hardy, since going to the back line, has been a solid player. Calvert had a good first quarter, but not so good in the second term. Wallace started to play better, and I think the move of Wallace back in towards the centre, whether he's actually in the centre, McLean was playing on Terry Wallace, and Wallace has absolutely dominated the centre. That's Wallace of Hawthorn. So all in all, what more can you say but a great performance by Hawthorn.
And the scoreline sums it up. Hawthorn 11-11, 77 to Footscray 3-5, 23 at half-time in the qualifying final as we go back to all studios.
I tell you, there must be 60-odd thousand here. Is there what? What's the score? What's the crowd? Hey, have a rest, love. Come up here, Dales.
Wadey's missus here, is she?
Ed, come up, love.
They after we see Dr. Edelson, his wife.
Hey, come here, Ed. We sat with Dr. Edelson's wife.
You should have heard Lou. Oh.
When did I, did you?
Ed? Hey, Ed. Come up here. We sat with Dr. Edelson's wife. How's like to be us doing this? I feel as tired as you do. Bloody one-sided, isn't it? Yeah, I know, you bloody know. And we sat with the Doc's wife, Ed and Doc and Ed.
What had they call us?
You had a piece of cheese.
Actually,
Did you have a bite of his
it could
pie?
mean a good game next week, Footscray and North.
Ed, did you have a bite of his pie? You're sorry you came up here today. It's up, right? Would you rather go home, mate? You got a good seat, haven't you? The best seat in the bloody house. Who's got the best seat? Why isn't it? What's wrong with it? Who? What's he saying? What did he do to you? Get his way. No, you're not. Well, bring your chair and sit up here. He made that great statement yesterday that Mark Q is finished for all time. He did that in the ground. It's gone down in history as the greatest boo-boo of all time. Never.
Happy about it because it's not been the sack on the job I didn't want to do. So we'll move it to the edge.
I've never heard you make a mistake like that, Pete.
No, never.
Pete, were you shocked when Peter? Pete, were you shocked when you heard him? I'd come home in the second half.
Purser's hardly been a player.
Langford's been very good.
Langford's done the job. Not bad effort. Langford plays half his game in the wing.
I have dropped a lot of marks.
This goes to show the value of ruckman, doesn't it? They're not with a bumper, are they?
Actually, one of the guys at the studio said to me today, he said, we're back again last week, and as we were watching the game, we picked the side.
You should.
We struggled to get a South bloke into a combined side between the two of them. I said, on the way they played last week, yes, I said,
You're going to do the rooms after the game, are you?
Tony Gano will be the game.
It's a good job to take. What did he say to you?
Actually, good, mate.
What did he say? Swearing?
Cal's a good player. Doesn't do enough. No, doesn't do enough.
Not much you can do after the game, is there?
Oh, he's an excellent player. Yeah, he's performed. But he has a dip. Kids like Murphy and that. Yeah, but if they had blokes to take them on, the Macca's is too short. If they had a few blokes to take them on, then the little guys didn't get a chance to. He's in between sides. But you can't play the flank. And he's not big enough to play the big. He's only going to play with this one.
You know what? Footscray will come home in the second half.
Miles has done well.
He wants this, like come home like a house on fire. How does a house come home on fire? They've just shattered his confidence. Poor old, what's his name? Please, he's hopeless now.
He was living in Sydney.
Okay, and you want to get that love? You can have that, I don't want it. I don't want it either. Yeah, Red, see you later.
He was up there when you first started going walking.
Hey, don't, you go first, Ed, because he's got, you know what, love?
We'll tell him that the joke is
It wasn't me.
you told us that. The Queen one about Dave Allen.
Edna won't let me tell bad dirty Yanks. No, everyone was shocked about that yesterday, weren't they? But that's Mark Q incident.
Oh, yeah.
Went hot, didn't it? He said, Mark, you can take my word, but he will not come back on the ground. As a matter of fact, he won't play. You should have seen Sam Newman at the luncheon. He walked around the room 7 times. The last time he came on clap for the lap. He was going on the last, doing the last lap. Downstairs. I know he got there.
I was really going to come in and say I agree completely, Sam. I thought, Sam said it, leave him on me.
Sam Newman's coaching the long. Oh, starts the rep.
They really should have been 8 goals up. At least 8. They weren't pressure shots, no.
You take it, Sam.
See how they got 4 mark dudes. He wouldn't play mark 2 before Murphy, Mitchell, bloody Stevie Wright and Bernie Evans. Mark 2 did his job. He did his job. I don't think actually he would have done that much better.
Oh, how about it, Kev?
Hasn't got my chance.
Kicked 2 goals.
Couldn't even consider playing.
It showed their team selection was good, didn't it?
You won the only one.
Oh, what a life. Did you have made yourself at home? Have you got your shoes on? You got to start whinging it. You're right, Pete. Get your seat, Ed. Hey, Russ, I hope you're looking after Edna down there, are you?
Going through there, are you?
Wallace.
Or Morris. Wallace and Morris.
You can't trust Bobby switches it when he looks at my boats, he goes the other way.
Right, yeah, Jesus Christ. You should have heard him last night.
Yeah, this week you did. Nah.
Next week when it comes up, I'm going to say, Paul Todd's votes up.
Well, 1 blue in 7 years is not bad.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Well, they can't have, because, what's his name, Marker gave him 10, didn't he? So how did he not win it? Yeah, mate. That's unbelievable. That I would have put a week's pay on him winning the car. Hey? I think I did. Well, it's 10, 9 and an 8 out of 3. I mean, you know, that's just about over the line, isn't it? I reckon they must have lost the votes. Well, I reckon they must have. That's the only way he would not have won that car. Hey, whoa!
Well, they're 52 points down. They couldn't seem to getting up.
Thank you, Graham. Both teams back onto the field. Actually, Hawthorn have played in every match, including the Little League, and they've lost them all so far, but they are well ahead in this one. We check the stats now at half-time, and taking a look at them, we see in the kicks, Hawthorn in front, 94 to 109, so a margin of 15. Bob Skilton did this yesterday, but he's left it for me today. 10 in favour of Hawthorn. In the marks, the free kicks, a margin of 2 to Hawthorn. The handballs, 36 to 70, so that's 34 in favour of Hawthorn. That's a considerable margin.
Almost double, Pete.
I think you've got to give full marks to one guy for Hawthorn that has played a lot of football on the wing. He's played at half back. He's played down there in the back pocket. He's playing in the ruck to that's length, but I reckon he's done a credible job
He certainly has,
against Big Percy, who's now, well, it must be rated as one of the, just about the top ruckman in the league, Bob.
And it'll probably surprise you to see Footscray's interchange Lou Piatt is off the ground.
Yeah. Well, I suppose that's a bit of a surprise.
I wouldn't really after his first half. And,
No, well, I don't think...
I just think the